Bob.
Helen.
Oh, Bob.
What's the matter? Why, you're like a scared chipmunk.
I was scared. But I'm not anymore. If I'd had any sense, I wouldn't have been in the first place.
There'll never be anything to be scared of in here.
Darling.
Now, come on, tell me all about it.
Well, Mr. Robinson called and...
Robinson?
Yes, Robinson.
You mean Mr. Scoot Robinson?
Mr. Scoot Robinson.
But I didn't know you knew him.
Well, I do in a way.
Well, why did he call you?
Well, he wasn't important, only that...
Well, it must have been pretty important if it sent you running here at 2 in the morning.
Oh, Bob. He said you were going to marry Audrey. I had to make sure it wasn't true.
It isn't, but why did he call you?
Well, Oh, Bob, I'm going to tell you. I should have a long time ago. It'll be a relief to tell you.
Go on, tell me.
Well, don't get mad or anything, but Bob, do you remember the Pirate and toothpaste?
Yes?
And the Velveeta shaving cream?
Yeah?
And you asked me how they knew?
They?
Yes, the Madison service.
Well, how did they know?
I told them.
Well, why should you tell them?
Well, well, you see, I'm the owner of Dorothy Madison. That is, I am Dorothy Madison.
I forgot to send you your check this week.
Oh, Bob, you've a right to be angry. You can say or do anything you please. I deserve it. But please, try and remember, I didn't deliberately start out to lie to you. It just happened that way. And then I got in so deep, I couldn't get out.
You're out now.
Bob, I couldn't tell you about me after what you said about bossy women. Why, I was the bossiest woman in the world. I ran people's lives for them. I made up their minds. I told them when they could eat and sleep and drink.
Now I remember. Suddenly, Mr. Robinson called, just like that, a boat from the blue. Then I had to have my deal arranged for me, because I was too stupid to do it for myself. That was you, wasn't it, with that phony, high-pitched voice?
Yes.
And then you got this apartment for me and picked out the towels and the soap, decided how much the rent would be, tipped the elevator boys in advance.
Oh, I didn't tip the elevator boys in advance.
How could that have slipped you, Miss Madison, an important thing like that? Why, I might have made a mistake and tipped them too much or too little, ruined your professional reputation. But you didn't forget Audrey, did you? That wasn't the way you planned it. So you got on that trick voice of yours again and called me up and warned me against her. That was very sweet of you.
Oh, Bob, please let me...
You must have had a great time running my life. It must have been great fun making all the decisions for me. Well, thank you very much, Miss Madison, but I don't need your service any longer. From now on, I'm going to make all the decisions for myself. And the first one is that I'm going to take Audrey up on her proposal.
Oh, but Bob, you can't do that.
Well, little Miss Fix-It, I'd marry Audrey now if she had 2 heads.
Listen, you're sad.
I think we ought to be a little more quiet. Maybe you ought to go before the neighbors start calling the Madison service.
Well, not finished yet, my dear boy?
Darling, you're going to be late for the party.
My goodness, the whole board is coming to inspect this cracker tonight. What's taking you so long? Oh, those revolving pins again, huh? Let me see. Well, now, Robert, you ought to be able to fix these all right.
If I had just one uninterrupted hour alone, I think I could fix it, huh?
Oh, yes, of course. I understand what you mean. Yes.
Alone.
Yes, you mean alone. You heard what he said, Audrey. So the sooner you leave him, the sooner he'll be alone. Well, while you're tinkering with that last nut, I'll arrange for the sauce for the sturgeon.
Oh, Bobby, darling, you won't be long, will you? You have to dress and everything, you know. Oh, Bobby, when we're married, where shall we go on a honeymoon? Oh, Paris is so usual. How about Havana?
We'll leave all those decisions to the Madison service.
Oh, I should say not. The minute we're married, I'll be out of their clutches. You just wait and see.
Audrey!
Yes, darling.
I think there's something you ought to know about me. When people interrupt me while I'm working, a strange thing happens to me. First I see spots before my eyes. Then I hear a rushing in my ears. Then a roaring. Then I brain the nearest person with this.
Oh, Bob! Bob, what's the matter with you? Well, how did you ever get like this?
It's inherited. There's always been insanity in my family. Sometimes my spells last only a minute. Sometimes they last a day. Sometime I'm afraid they're going to go on forever! Well, it's finished. You know, I always thought this would be the greatest moment of my life, and I feel as flat as old beer.
Tonight I feel as sad as sour vodka. I feel lonesome. Lonesome for the steps, the big, beautiful, rolling steps of old Russia. There I was appreciated. There I was somebody.
A super chef, eh?
A chef. I was Prince Sergei Vasilievich Bibenko, Colonel of the Black Eagle Imperial Guard.
A prince, eh?
Yes.
Say, does Audrey know anything about this?
No. Little do the Robinsons know that the old blood of the Boyars boils in my veins. That I was an intimate and familiar to all the royal blood in Russia. Or they would have invited me to their party.
I'll say they would. Especially Audrey.
Audreychka, my little Audrey.
Bibenko, I invite you to this party. See, I know you're a prince, but, well, have you got anything to make you look like one? You know, I mean, medals or decorations or anything like that?
Medals or decorations? He asks. I have the double-headed eagle of Moscow, the Preobrazhensky Cross, the Insk, Minsk, Omsk, and Tomsk medallions, the Iron Virgin Moldava, the Poltavskaya star with palms, the Nizhny Novgorod rosette with vultures, and the monocle.
Well, put them all on. You're going to this party, baby. We haven't got much time.
Please.
Your Highness.
Monsieur.
Mr. and Mrs. Burton Devereux.
Well, how do you do, Mrs. Devereux? How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs.
Hello,
Devereux?
that's good. How are
May I
you?
present my fiancé, Mr. Wade? Oh! How do you do? And is this the young man I've heard so much about?
Mr. Devereux is a member of our board, Robert.
Good evening, Mr. Wade.
Oh, how do you do?
Mr. Nikolai Vorochinsky.
Well, good evening, Mr. Vorochinsky. I'm so glad you could come. You know my daughter? Yes, everybody does. And this is Mr. Wade, of whom you'll hear more later.
Of whom I have already heard.
Mr. Vorochinsky is an honorary member of our board and commissar of the Moscow Harvester Company.
Miss Dorothy Madison.
How do you do, Miss Robinson?
Good evening.
How do you do, Miss Madison?
And of course, Mr. Wade.
I'm so glad you could come, Miss Madison. What a pity Miss Madison couldn't come.
Yes, she wanted to so badly, but she had such a dreadful headache, migraine, you know. Mr. Wade, have you ever had migraine?
No, but I got hit on the head with a baseball bat once.
Oh, did you really? So did I.
Oh, what a pity you both recovered.
Yeah.